live. Welcome back everyone to Plough Lane, 9yrsTV post-match coverage of AFC Wimbledon 0, Cambridge United 1. Winless in 2022. I'm Nick Draper. I am joined by Rob Boyce to my left, Tom Large to my right, and George Jones far right. And a little bit lost for words at the moment. That was not an enjoyable afternoon, especially second half. Conceded a goal within the first 30 seconds of the second half. Ironically, we were discussing our record of conceding goals in that first quarter of an hour of the second half earlier in the pre-match show, and that curse stuck again. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, Rob, I don't know if you agree with me, but as soon as that goal went in, we might as well have gone home, because what's happened over all previous weeks is we've taken a knock and it just deflates us, it kills us, and the mentality of the team it's gone.
Yeah, we looked mentally weak once we conceded. We just looked like we just capitulated, really. Just never looked confident of getting back in the game, which is a shame, because early on in the season I always felt confident. 1-0 down, 2-0 down, there'd been some fight. You know, we had one shot the whole of the second half, or potentially even all game. I remember that Sam Cosgrove blazing it over the bar. He worked a good position, but we deserved nothing out of the game, in my opinion. We didn't. You know, once it went 1-0 down, like I said, you could have packed up and gone home after that. I do think it was a Nick Zanev error as well. I think he could have done better. The goal just seemed soft. You know, it's so far out, and I just felt like it should have been parrying that wide of the post. If that happens, you know, maybe walk away with a 0-0, but we never looked like scoring this afternoon. Once we went 1-0 down, we looked like a team relegated.
That's my thought at the moment, actually. Tom, we will come on to the goal and discuss it in a minute, but Tom, first thing, talk about mentality and things perhaps not thinking that great for us. Two bits in the second half that made me go, okay, worrying signs. The first one was we got a free kick about 25 yards from goal towards the touchline, and it seemed ideal for a right football to go into the box, far post, try and get a nip, try and get any bit of luck, and we went for a Lee Brown out swinging ball. It was overhit, goes out for a throw in. I just thought mentally that showed me that we're making poor decisions. I thought it was an awful decision. But also second half there was a time when the ball went over towards Ben Hennigan, and the only realistic option he had was to play it back to Nick Zanev. But it's almost like Hennigan knew that if he did that, he was going to get tons of grief from the crowd. So instead, what he tries to do on his weaker foot is play a worldy crossfield pass. Completely, obviously, on his weaker foot, it's never going to happen. It goes straight out of play. And that's worrying for me, because that just shows, again, as Rob said, heads are just not in it, are they? Something's happened mentally, we're not there.
Yeah, and coming back to a few games ago, you talk about mentality. When we were 1-up, I think it was with a 2-2 draw. Yeah. Like Rudy was playing with a bit of a bit of confidence, and I think we need that confidence back for us to be well. Obviously, a lot of these players are very young. They're playing a lot of their first experience of football. People get frustrated when you play backwards passes, and it happens a lot. We play a lot of backwards and sideways football, and there's going to be grief naturally. But if you have to do it as part of the team, you just have to do it and just deal with that grief from the crowd, I think. Trying to pull things off that, you know, maybe you're not. It's under the pressure, you're not going to maybe have the quality to do so. I think it's silly, and people are going to have an opinion regardless.
So it feels like we're going backwards and sideways because it's the easy ball. Confidence is so low. I feel like there's players today who just hit.
It's safety first, isn't it?
Yeah. Which isn't going to get us anywhere.
The issue is we play backwards because then we get forward and all of a sudden we try and do some ridiculous skill move or some ridiculous ball through three players that no one can do, and then
but is that not a sign of desperation? Is that
it's like,
I don't know what to do, so I'm going to try anything.
We have no confidence at the back, and then all of a sudden when we get forward, instead of playing a simple pass, where I think early on Osoya was through and Widjard was in absolute acres. I think he get about the whole half of the 80 yards to himself, and it just ran into people.
So what I don't think helped there is the whole crowd started shouting shoot, and I think he was going to pass Woody through, and then I think he got caught in two minds and then ended up doing neither.
He'd be a bit of a hero, wouldn't he, if he scored there? Second first start and goal.
Derek Yu did win man of the match. He came off on about the hour mark, but I think that shows how poor the team was today.
Second half especially, I thought we were. I thought first half was okay. But I'm wary. I don't want to dominate, because I've started off with talking about mentality. I don't want to dominate proceedings with that. I'll get your thoughts on where else things might have gone wrong today. But Tom, there was another, exactly as you say there, second half, we get a little bit of a luck, we get the ball, we get a break. Rudy just needs to drive forward, and in the first 6 months of the season, 6 weeks of the season, whatever, he would have done that. But he was slow, he was ponderous, and he just started moving away from goal, and in the end he just wastes possession trying to play a ball in behind. And is that not part of, again, to keep banging this head banging this point, heads, mentality, decisions not there.
Yeah, I feel like
confidence.
we've also got a lot of staff behind the scenes that are meant to be, in to help players and kind of have mentality coaches and sort and affect those things on the pitch. And it doesn't seem to be working, if I'm being honest, because I've never seen such a dejected side in so long. We play like we were already relegated when we're actually still very much got a good chance of safety. The up there. It's between us and Fleetwood now, really. I mean, Morecambe probably could now take us and we end up 22nd, but we aren't relegated yet. And I've had a lot of fans are saying we are, and I'm, at the end there, I was very much starting to believe that we were, but we're not. We've got 7 games left. Not very good. And if we can get, again, the optimist in me says we can get 2 wins. If we can just get a win and a couple of draws. Yeah. Even if we draw 3 of them, 4 of them, that's still going to be a lot come the end of it.
And I think that's the thing. I think we have got a good chance of. Well, we've got a chance of staying up this year. We do need, like we were talking pre-match. I think 40 points is probably enough this year, or near enough.
Yeah. But playing like that,
I know it's going to be tough to get there. But I think I genuinely think we're 1 win away from starting getting a couple of results, because it is just confidence, and we saw that today. When the first goal went in, not just the players but the whole ground, it went flat.
Yeah,
and I do think we just need that first win to come from somewhere.
George, you say we've got a good chance of staying up. It's the hope that kills you. It's been 20 league games. Yeah. I can't see where our win's coming from. I'm going into next week expecting that as a write-off.
We're playing Crewe in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but even
it's that.
Even you say there, George, though, you say it's just confidence. Confidence is huge, and we're not struggling for confidence. We're bereft of it. There's nothing there.
That's what I mean. We just need that one moment where we get, a lucky win somewhere.
We've been saying that for the last 20 games.
I know, and we ain't had any luck in 20 games.
Every show I've been on is a bit of luck.
And I think that we just need that bit of luck. And you think we're coming into Crewe, and we just need that little thing to come in, and that is the win. Let's be honest. That's the game where if we're going to get a win again this season, it's that.
The thing is, I think every time we're on the show, we've said, there's one game in the next 5 we're going to win, and yet we're still 20 without a win. I haven't been on the show for a great long time, so I think it's becoming a bit of an issue of let's look 4 games down the line. Let's wait till the last game of the season. Yeah. Let's wait till this and all that. But
George, I think we've lost the plot, mate. To say that Crewe is our next win, so we're writing off Sheffield Wednesday, Charlton.
I think Charlton's.
No, I'm not saying that's.
We're running out of games.
No, but I'm just saying that's the very, very winnable one. I'm not writing off Sheffield Wednesday because we got a good point against them earlier this year. Charlton, we know are inconsistent, and then the atmosphere at the game, in that game against Buckinghamshire is going to be. Who knows what could happen that day? So I'm not writing off any of them, but I'm saying Crewe is, if you're going to win and have that confidence boost and win, that's the game where it has to be. It can't be lighter than that. If we don't win at Crewe, then I think we're in real trouble.
Well,
but until then,
real trouble now.
No, but if that team out there was playing confident and playing good football, and we were just being unlucky, I'd understand it. Yeah. But playing like that with no confidence, and it just doesn't seem like there's a plan out there. Is the issue? There's no plan.
Well, I'm not sure what the plan is, but it's just the players they look scared. They get on the ball and they look scared. They look terrified of making mistakes, and that is bigger than just confidence. That's a whole big mentality shift that we need. The Crewe, I was saying, Crewe is great, and if we beat Crewe, great. But if we looked at the league table earlier, we're not. That's a game in hand on Gillingham that's gone now because they're 4 points ahead. Yeah. So now they are away, and as Tom said earlier, it does look like it's between us and Fleetwood, and that becomes an absolutely massive game. And perhaps actually being away from home, that might help us in some respects.
I do think those 2 games both being away, I think that's a massive, because we know all season our home form's not been good all year.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when we were winning games in the first half of the year, our home form was still pretty poor. So I think it's one of those things of those 2 games away. And the thing is, we win both of those. We're on 39, and we're nearly there. We need to scrape a couple of points from draws elsewhere. So I just think it's still doable. We shouldn't write it off just here, because there were people today who were saying we're down. We're nowhere near that.
I agree with that. Playing like that, we are down, unfortunately. I'm an optimist to anyone. Growing up, I was a Wimbledon fan, and everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. If we play like that, we're gone. There's no way around that. But we're not gone yet.
We don't have a goal scorer to get us out of trouble.
So many times to people.
100%.
People said, Piggott's gone, great. We don't need him. We need him more than ever.
Yeah. You know what frustrates me though? We talk about the low confidence and the mentality. You got Darius Charles, mentor coach. You got Steve Stallis, something to do. Something to do with all that jazz. And we've got 20 games without a win.
Darius is a mentor, not a coach. He doesn't do mental stuff.
But he's just a mentor. He's in there doing mentoring. You've got Steve Stallis in there.
It's a wage that can be put onto the striker.
I don't understand how we get out of this. We're so low on confidence. I can't see us getting anything out of Sheffield Wednesday. I just don't know where we go from there.
I do have to say at this point, viewers, that your comments are coming through. We can't get them up on the screen with technical difficulty, but we are getting them through. And if you see me looking down at the desk, this is what I'm doing. I'm looking at your comments, and I'll repeat some of them as I go through. Obviously, thank you. Keep them coming through.
Just while she looked at those comments, we're going to say I realised something, and it sounds silly, funny for a football manager, but it does have legs. I realised that James Simmons goes back in January. Since January, we've not looked at all confident on the pitch, and I think that experienced head from a big club with a coaching assistant, I think that's really had an impact on the squad.
I do think Simo's been a massive miss. I mean people say that, but he's an academy coach, same as Robbo, same as Rob, same as James. But you can't massive miss. He bought into the culture. He's a big thing because we do need a replacement in the summer to bring in an extra body as a coach because we never really replaced him.
Well, we're talking about bringing people in. So Paul Cade has said if Rollo is to stay, he needs help from an experienced head. Do we agree? I think unanimously we absolutely do.
Yeah.
My big worry is April 9th at the moment, and I want somebody who's been there, done it, to come in and sort of have a chat and see what we can do, because that could turn very ugly, and we don't really want to avoid that. And I mean, hey look, we went there a few years ago, the first time we ever played them, and we went there with a ragtag collection of loans and young players and 50-year-old Neil Sullivan in goal, or however old he was at the time, and we were a fluky heel away from getting a replay there. So we can compete, it's fine, but we need to get rid of this sort of straitjacket confidence. Anyway, I'll come back to you in a second, sorry, just to get some of these comments through. So Pat Hayes, we keep repeating the same thing, we are losing and games are running out, as we've said. 100%, we are now down to the last 7. Who else we got here? Luck. George, you might have said it was luck. Football says metrics suggest it isn't, especially the last 6 games. I mean, there are elements of luck, which I will just mention again. Liv McCormick getting injured, huge loss for us when you look at his goals and assists this year. And we're down to Sam Cosgrove, who, again, I've said before the show, divides opinion. Again, I'm quite defensive of him. I thought he was all right for what he needs, the job he needs to do. I actually think our best chance second half comes from him doing what people don't seem to notice him doing, which is holding the ball up with his back to goal and bringing down his players. It does happen. It doesn't seem to get noticed as much. We don't know now what his situation is. He walks off the pitch, takes a huge knock to the head. We have to use a concussion sub, 4th sub. Ethan Chiswick comes on, with all due respect. We've got no recognised centre forward then on the pitch. So that is an element of luck. We don't know how long Cosgrove will be out for. He walked off the pitch, but it looks like concussion. I don't know what protocols are. Can he start next week?
Yeah, so concussion protocols, it's going to be probably 2 weeks. Unless... and that's if there's no reoccurrence of symptoms. If there's more, if they come back, it will set him back a bit longer. And as we've seen with Jack Madlin, that could be anything from an extra week to 6 months. But it's hopefully only 2 weeks.
Terry Ablard and Zach Robinson not involved today.
Terry's away with Finland.
Right.
Zach is around, just not in the squad.
Okay.
The former wasn't missed, the latter was, in my eyes.
Yeah.
I don't think Terry Ablard actually provides much to the team.
Okay.
I think he's been kind of thrown at the deep end. We've brought in 3 at the same loan.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't, unfortunately, as much as you want to see a young player do well, especially if you're on loan at your club, I think he's just not ready for this level yet, I don't think. Zach Robinson would have been, I think he would have probably got a goal today.
Yeah,
probably optimistic in me, but
I was disappointed Zach Robinson wasn't on the bench because we started 2 strikers. So we knew Derek Hugh wasn't going to play the full 90 minutes because he's not had enough league football this season, or he's not going to be match fit to play 90 minutes. So we always knew he was probably going to come off for a Sal. But then when Cosgrove came on, it would have been nice to have Robinson on there instead of Ethan Chislett.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can have 2 strikers and Dapo on a bench. I just think that doesn't give you enough balance.
I'm not asking for 2 strikers on the bench. I'm just saying Zach Robinson.
But you'd have Ayub as well, who came on up top.
But he's not a striker.
He came on up top.
He did.
I know. He's him and Dapo.
George, you were saying Dapo was a striker before we went live.
Yeah, no, but that's one.
Is everyone does a striker in your eyes, or?
No, but I think they are sort of.
Dapo
came to play up top, and Ayub did as well.
He should be a striker in the last 10 minutes. Ben Hennigan, get him up front.
You know what?
Yeah. I actually think he'd do a job.
I don't disagree with that.
I think he'd do a job
because Hennigan's someone in there that is putting himself about physical, would win some headers. We were chucking some balls in the box towards the end there. I was thinking, why are we doing that? Because there's no one's going to win a header in
but
that.
If you like Joe's side, I like him. I think he's been one of our better players this year. One of our better players in the whole squad. Chuck him up top, even if it's we're 1-0 down. Having played 2 at the back, which Nightingale suits more than a 3 back, and then have Lee Brown next to him. Nesta can drop back into left back if needed, and then you can go into a 4-back and chuck someone up top, and it's just height and a bit of knowledge as well. Because if you only Chislett's young, and this is his first league club. Assal very young, doesn't have experience. Yeah. And who was our other attacker? Dapo, young. Dapo, yeah. So
it's that, and that's isn't that the consistent problem we've got? It's just the inexperience in the youth. So some comments. Paul Cade saying perhaps Lori Sanchez comes in. Perhaps he's an experienced head. Wouldn't say no at the moment.
I was going to say previously I've said on here I'd like to have an experienced coach or assistant come in or director of football type. But we obviously saw the news come out this week where they seem to have applied additional resource to the football committee. I would have liked to have seen, somebody, a coach or director of football, or somebody come in to, more support and help Robbo, in my opinion. I've said that previously, so I'll stand by it.
I would say the Don's Trust have said they're looking into maybe changing the model slightly to having a sort of a general manager sort of run the office side of the club, and then hiring a technical director or sporting director to run the football side in a director of football style and model.
But the issue is who comes to this club and says, I want to do this. Let's be honest, you're not going to get paid much. You're not going to have great resources.
No. Especially right now.
Yeah, and the club is going to get relegated.
Any changes we make aren't going to come to the summer. I felt like we had the opportunity to make the change recently, and we obviously come up with the club news, and we obviously have seem to have recruited somebody to the football resource, but I can't see any more changes between now and the end of the summer until we review things.
It's unlikely, yeah. It's unlikely. Things will be long term. That was Adam Hillman saying Lori Sanchez as well. Football manager John again. Gillingham have missed Olivia for massive chunks of the season. Every side in every league has injuries. I mean, it's a fair point. Every squad does. I think what we've learnt again this season is because of the way we've gone about things with our small budget. Again, I'm going to use that word uncompetitive that was used by the Don's Trust in the week and the AFC PLC. We're short. We're short of bodies. We're short of numbers. Injuries are going to cost a side like us more with our resources than it will other teams. And Gillingham, someone made the point earlier, and I'll try and find it, about getting Neil Harris in, championship level coach. Again, it comes down to resources, and I think Gillingham had the resources to bring someone in like Neil Harris and probably the salary that goes with it, and we just don't have it.
And paying off Steve Evans as well.
And paying off Steve Evans
can't be cheap.
No, not just a donut.
And Paul Raymond with that as well.
But also Neil Harris don't go anywhere unless he's guaranteed a hell of a lot of money to spend. Not just on him, but in terms of money he can spend on the playing squad.
Adam Hillman says should have played 4-3-1-2 with Marsh, Woodyard, Hartigan in midfield. Just need to grind out points and defend for 1 point per game. I mean, at the end of the day, let's talk about grinding out results. So, Rob, you mentioned about the goal where they could have done better with the shot. Tom, my issue with the goal, aside from that, was two occasions we just lost battles in midfield that led to it. And it was panic stations. When they got in, they actually played a poor pass across goal. There was no one to receive it, but it was panic stations from our team because I think we had 3 players that all went to the ball. And then, who was it? What's the name of the scorer? Was it Brophy?
Adam May.
Was it May that scored it? Sorry, right, okay. He just drops off. Has all the space, picks his shot. And
everyone was trying to get to the ball, but if you look at the man that's fair, and you have to look where the ball's going next more than anything, because I think again it's inexperience is kind of like a real trend in it, but and unfortunately inexperience isn't the answer to well, let's get relegated because we're young. That's not. It's a professional football club,
Yeah, well, no. At the end of the day, we are a professional football club, as people have said. Professional footballers, we have to get on and deal with it. We do now have to find a way of dealing with it because, as I said, the confidence is the psychology. That team coming off the pitch. I don't know if you guys stayed around to see them all come in. Did you hear? I couldn't understand because there wasn't that many people left in the stadium. But the level of the booing when the players went over to applaud, the level.
It wasn't massive.
I was in the south stand for the second half, and it was some of the chants and fans are starting to get frustrated. But we sold 8,300 tickets today of a team that's not 1 in 20, and that's a huge.
Oh yeah,
positive. Well, not for the team, but for the fans. It shows that we've got a stadium.
Well, for the club, it is a pure positive.
People are going to get frustrated, and my issue is if people start turning, it will be en masse, and it won't be just the odd person that doesn't come. We'll see 60% capacity, then 50%, and then it gets worse and worse.
I mean, on that, I'd say we sold out today comfortably, and that's with that run. So I don't think it's a problem.
We're at 9,000.
The official attendance was 8,400. It was classed as a sellout. I'm assuming, but we'd have to have this conversation another time, I think. But that's not a sold out ground.
Yeah, it was sold out. Every seat was sold.
How many people?
I'm not saying every seat was used. I'm saying every seat was sold.
I realise that every ticket was sold, but that's a huge amount that didn't turn up. If you were to look at the East Stand, if you look at the seats around where I sit, so many empty seats. I can't believe it's all just people not attending. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Adam Hillman's point about formation. Should we go to a flat back four? Should we do one with a back?
You know what frustrates me? I don't feel like 3-5-2's worked all season. It didn't work at Boreham Wood, Gillingham. I remember it didn't work. Today it didn't work. I don't recall one time this season where we switched to a back three. Second half we've been pulling off wingers and putting on Paul Callan-Byard, switched to our back three. Never seen it work this season.
I've never pulled off a winger, I just want to say that.
And when we went one down, it frustrated me that we didn't change formation, to 4-2-3-1 or something different, because Simon Vincenti is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
Yeah.
And we played for 90 minutes, 97 minutes. It doesn't matter how long we played today. We never looked like scoring. Henry Lawrence and Osu came off because obviously I don't feel like he was playing well enough. Nesta came on. Nesta and Henry Lawrence didn't offer us anything. There was no balls going into the box. So I felt personally we should have taken off one of the defenders, if it was Lee Brown or Nightingale. I don't think Nightingale works in the back three either. I feel like we missed Dan Drucker if you're going to play a back three, but he's on international duty. I think we should have changed formation early on.
Is there a confidence thing, George, with going with a back four? Was it a confidence because Cambridge, they pretty much played Ironside up top by himself, and then they had the three sort of surrounding him. Why do you think we felt the need for three centre halves?
But it wasn't, the change of shape wasn't to have three centre halves. The change of shape was to have two up top, and to make sure that Cosgrove had a body around him to try and help him and try and help Cosgrove have a good game.
Right.
And to be fair, I think Derek was doing quite well.
We could have done that without going three at the back, though.
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't think you could have. No, I don't think you could. No, because genuinely, I think if you're going to go two up top, you have to go three at the back, because otherwise you lose the battle in midfield.
I don't think you do.
No.
Not when you've got Martian. Not when you've got Martian Woodyard.
Woody was out sorts today.
Yeah, but even still, you can before the game, you don't know how players are going to play. Otherwise, we'd probably be somewhere out the table. But you can play a diamond in midfield. We've got so many players like Rudy and Asal that can play wide midfielders, wide wingers, can play kind of anywhere.
We played 3-4-1-2 with Rudy behind the front. Like I said, you can play the diamond. Lose a No,
but if you're doing a if you're doing a wide diamond, I genuinely believe you get overrun in midfield. If you're doing a narrow diamond, you don't have any attacking width, and then
we didn't no attacking width today anyway.
I know, but then the wing backs had the wing backs work today, which they didn't. We can't deny that.
So why is Nightingale being started when Callan-Byard's on the bench, who plays better in a three, and Nightingale's not suited to that? Is a question I thought Callan-Byard must have been injured. Then I looked at the bench and thought, well, if he's on there and isn't used, surely he should be involved.
Nightingale just looks shot of confidence to me.
He does look shot of confidence, and you'd think getting a 3.5-year deal would give him a boost, because he's got probably a positive to yourself. I've clearly been deemed to be playing well. I've been given a new deal, but maybe not. I think it's just. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of formations and players and personnel and things like that, I mean, there's so many ifs and buts and maybes and all these sorts of things. I do think there is an argument, if you're going to go two up top, I think you can go with a back four without too much hassle. But I appreciate what you're saying, George, and especially the attempt there to use the wing backs to get that width. It just didn't work.
It just didn't work.
But then we've had this before, haven't we, Tom, where we've had teams that have come here and they've sort of learned. If you stick bodies in the box and men behind the ball, and defend deep, we really struggle for ideas and how to break them down.
Other teams seem to react to us a lot quicker. Like we were a horrendous first half of the season, and then all of a sudden we were really good. We were really good in the second half, and now we're very good in the first half. Like Cambridge, I don't think Cambridge looked all that in the first half.
No, I thought we had better in the first half.
Yeah. But second half. I hate using cliches, but it was men against boys. We did nothing.
But I think so much of that comes down to that start, that first 50 seconds, whatever it was, right to that first goal.
I've seen us go 1 down to Oxford and win 3-1, and Oxford are a much better side than Cambridge.
I know, but at the moment, confidence is shot, and then that goal killed it.
Do you know what would have helped today? That man earlier in the studio, Aaron Presley. I think his off the ball work, and people say though he's not scored from actual play. George Hurst at Portsmouth. I mean, he's got a few goals this season. But before that, he hadn't scored a senior goal, I don't think, or he had scored very minimal. And Keenan Davis, on loan from Villa, a Championship club, he's not a big goal scorer, but his presence is what you need.
Yeah, and I thought we saw that in that glimpse of when he came back after injury. John Foster, I think you saw that and his movement and what have you. So, just trying to get some other comments on, because we know there are some. But
talking of Aaron Presley, you said earlier about we missed James Simmons, but for me, I think it's hard to judge that, because we also lost Aaron Presley and Ollie Palmer and replaced him with Terry Blade and Sam Cosgrove. I know the two I'd rather have today.
I would say we lost Simo a month before we lost Ollie. So, and we were turning, and we didn't start the year great when we still had Ollie.
We didn't finish the year great either.
No, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Even after we lost Simo is when it turned, not when we lost Ollie. I think
Yeah,
Ollie compounded it, but I think Simo's a big miss.
Palmer was a big presence up top, but I always thought he was very late to everything.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to people like, in and around the press box, and it'd always be 10 seconds, and then he'd get there, and he was always kind of a delayed. I think he's found his level in the National League. Well, no, I'm not saying Cosgrove.
No one's saying that.
No, that's also
yeah.
Palmer's just a bit of a character.
Yeah, exactly, and he
he's a
probably brings
leader.
something to the dressing room.
Yeah.
But Cosgrove's what, 24, 25?
Yeah, something like that.
25.
But also, I would say on the character, we've replaced the character. We haven't replaced the striker.
Yeah, who's the character?
Lee
Brown.
Brown.
Oh, Lee Brown.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, true.
I mean, there are characters in that squad, but unfortunately, I think what you see today is everyone was just. Everyone had gone, and that goal just absolutely killed us.
Yeah.
And that was it. But also, I mean, there's another point to be made. We came out really early for the second half because it was delayed because of an injury to the assistant referee, so we had to get a fourth official replacement, all these sorts of things. So the second half kicked off really, really late. And we did seem to come out very, very early for it, and maybe perhaps a little too early. I don't know.
I think that's happened the week before as well.
Okay.
We came up very early. Oh, not
Yes,
the home
you're
game
right.
before, we
2
came
weeks
up
ago,
crazy
But
early.
I think
And I think that's the king of, Robbo saying the words, you're not playing very well.
Yeah.
Go out and kind of prove something. But
Yeah.
But I do think being out so early probably did hurt us there. I don't think we realised just how late the half would have kicked off.
Yeah.
Because
why though? Why?
Because the ref got.
No, but no.
I don't
Why
think-
does standing outside on the pitch?
But I
stop
don't
you
think we
playing
knew.
well? No, why does standing on a pitch stop you playing? Well?
Especially when they're warming
No,
up, sticking
no,
the
no,
ball.
but-
No, because they came out pretty much, and then we kicked off straight away. So they were fresh and just went.
Yeah.
Whereas
Warming
we.
up.
Surely be rare with the fans behind you and you have a ball.
No, but it's one of those
it's
things.
about going from 0
Yeah.
to 100, and they'd already started going.
Yeah, and I think you're both right in what you're saying there, because I agree. We came out too early. Should it have an effect? No. Does it? Probably yes. And hey, we got caught cold. We gave away another poor goal, and Cambridge easily saw that game out second half.
Yep.
It was really hard to watch. Kevin Davis saying time up, I assume, probably for our League One status, maybe. Jamie scored a 6-0 to Sheffield Wednesday, and lots and lots of praise for you, George. You're a big fan, big hit with
Great
you
to see I'm
today.
still a fan favourite after our last
After all these games. Right, any final thoughts we want to give? Because I mean, what more can you say? We're 20 games without a win, and Gillingham have got a win today away at Accrington, so great result for them. Doncaster, they've gone. I mean, Doncaster, see you later, bye.
Donny and Crew.
I
Go on. This is a
brave,
big shout.
Tom.
No,
Be brave.
It's
I
only-
don't think a matter of 4 points with 7 games left, if they can turn it around, again, it's a massive if, but I don't think Morecambe is still very much involved, but I don't think Doncaster are that far out of it.
Doncaster won the most games even up to Fleetwood. They've won the same amount as Gillingham. If they can,
They have, but I just think they've got to get above 3 other teams. And I
They
just
also
can't see them getting
got.
above
I
3
didn't see the
other
minus 46 goal difference. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, maybe that was a bit outrageous.
teams. Might be a bit much.
But I would just say on one of the final thoughts things, but it would be such a Wimbledon thing to do for us to be on this run and then to go and beat someone like Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. It'd be
Love it,
such a
George.
Wimbledon
It's
thing
not- it's
to
not.
do.
I have to applaud the positivity.
That
Hey, look,
is such a
miracles,
dumb thing to do.
miracles can happen. They absolutely can. We can dream, but you know what? Why not? Hey, look, they won today. What, they 4-1 today, Sheffield Wednesday?
Only 4-1 against Cheltenham.
we've got more. Any
hard
viewers have got more chance of winning the lottery next Saturday. So buy a lottery ticket. You've got more chance of winning than us beating Sheffield Wednesday next Saturday.
What was the Undertaker's streak at WrestleMania? 2021, wasn't it, before he shattered it? So maybe 1 defeat, and then we can beat Charlton, and then it'll be 21-1. Right, thank you for joining us post-match. We'll get more reaction, obviously, over the coming hours on the club's social media to defeat here today. Biggest disappointment for me will still remain that Cambridge were not in their home kit today. Pointless change of
It's a
colours.
nice shirt.
I did like
It wasn't
kit.
have to admit,
that is a nice
It
kit.
was a very nice kit.
It is
one
a
that I
nicer
currently
kit,
own as
but
well.
it's not their first choice. There's no need to have changed, so anyway. But that's that. I don't know what to say really. I think for the next week, I'm going to finish on this point. Started with it. We need a psychiatrist, a psychologist, someone, because we've got a very. I think they're a scared group of players at the moment. I don't know what else to suggest at this point. Rob, anything, or should we wrap up?
I think we should wrap up. I don't have any more views. Yeah.
Fair enough, George.
I still think it's coming. I think we'll be fine this year.
Love it. Tom.
I haven't got much to say. That I think we lack quality in midfield today. I'm not gonna.
Tom, just say you want George Marsh to start ahead of Andy Hart.
Yeah,
just say
I
it.
just don't. I think Hartigan is too much of a luxury player in this team. I just don't think he, unfortunately, fits the bill for this. I said before, I think he'd work in a different team with a different setup, but he doesn't put any tackles in for a defensive mid, and his ball forwards aren't very good.
Do you know what I will say on this? Is what I did notice during the game is when we had to do things instinctively, when we didn't have time to think about what we were doing, you could see the quality, the technical quality and ability players like Hartigan and Radoni have. But as soon as they had time to think, meltdown.
But that's what I mean. I think if the team's doing well, if we're mid-table and playing well, I think Anthony Hartigan's a great player for us. I just think in a scrappy team, when you're really fighting,
Stuart's trying to cut us off. He's like, sorry George, that's enough of you. Let's get rid of you. But that is where we will finish it. So thanks for joining us. You have to have a laugh, don't you? Because otherwise you would cry. Where are we? A couple of weeks' time. Tuesday, April 5th, we're back on 9yrsTV for Charlton at home. Sheffield Wednesday away next week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
And don't forget the women's team here Wednesday night.